Hi everyone, it's Gail here. It's the Ignite show, and I am back after a week's holiday. So I have been resting and recuperating. So I'm just going to check and make sure I am live in the right place. We have a wee look over here. I have a look at my personal profile, and I'll bring up the comments here as well, just so I can see if anybody is on watching me. Okay, let me just click over here. I am supposed to be live on my Facebook profile and on YouTube. Let me just check Facebook, see if I'm on there. I think I am. Yes, I am. And it says that Facebook is on a complete go slow at the moment. Clicking things and nothing's happening. So it's saying that today I'm talking about balance and why it's so important to create a vision of the balance you want. So the reason I decided to talk about that today is because, so I have been on holiday. So I've been on holiday for a week. So I had a staycation, right? So a staycation. So we went away for a couple of days down to Berwick. But apart from that, we were at home. So we were just, hanging out, not doing a huge amount. But we had a week off, and in that week off, I was able to just do a little bit of reflection, a little bit of thinking about my business, about what I'm doing, what's working, what isn't working. So I always find that when I take that step back and force myself to switch off from my business, then I can just start to think a little bit. Oh, something funny's going on over here. I'll just close that. I can start to just get a little bit of separation, so I don't feel so much like I'm in the weeds of everything, and I can just start to think a little bit about what I want from the business, what do I want it to look like, what's going to work for me, what's working just now, what isn't working, that kind of thing. So I see someone is on watching me live. So if you are on live, let me know that you're here. Drop me a little comment, say hello so that I know who is watching. Maybe it's a lurker, we'll see what happens. But if you are watching me live, drop me a comment so that I know you're here. If you're watching this on replay, #replay, let me know that you have tuned in. It's always good to know that people are watching my stuff. So yes, I'm just back from a week's holiday, and it gave me the opportunity just to have a little bit of space between me and my business, and just allows me to think about the business rather than thinking about being in the business. Oh, it's Julie. Hi, Julie. Oh, the lovely Julie Begbie is on. How are you? What have you been up to since I last saw you? So last time I saw you, we were having lunch. We were having lunch. And let me tell you, that was the first time I had been out anywhere, like since lockdown. So the first time I'd been out anywhere since lockdown was with Julie. So that was about a week and a half ago. And we went to the Melville Inn, which is, for those of you that are in this area, it is just beside Dobies, near the Sheriff Hall roundabout. And their kind of social distancing measures and practices that they had in place were actually not too bad. But I have to say, depending on where you go, oh my goodness, it is a very mixed bag out there, a very mixed bag. So I've been in some places where there was, so just because we've been on holiday and we've been off for the past week, and we were away for a couple of days. Oh, you were on holiday too as well. I didn't realise that, Julie. So I've just seen a little reaction from you as well. I didn't know you were on holiday last week, Julie. What did you get up to? Did you do anything? Did you go anywhere? Because we were away, so we were down in Berwick. And oh, Judith is on as well. Hi, Judith. Oh my goodness, Judith is on as well. So the last time, this is so funny because the last time I spoke to Judith, I had a complete meltdown, a complete and utter meltdown. And it was the day before. I can see your comments, Judith. Yes, don't know if you can hear me, but I can definitely see them. Let me just do this so that you know. There you go, Judith Keys. Don't know if you can see my comments. That just proves that I can. So let me hide that again. Yes, the last time I spoke to Judith, I had a complete and utter meltdown, and it was the day before I went on holiday, and it just proves that I was absolutely doing great because I am in a completely different place now. And you went to Alton Towers for 2 days, Julie. Ooh, Julie went to Alton Towers. So how was that, Julie? How was it? And how was the social distancing at Alton Towers? Because I can't imagine, like, how can you go on rides in Alton Towers and do the social distancing thing? Let me know how that was, because yeah, the social distancing thing, depending on where you go, it can be an absolute nightmare. So we were in a couple of places in Berwick. I won't say where we were, just in the interest of protecting the establishment's reputation. However, one of the places had absolutely no social distancing measures in place whatsoever, like absolutely nothing. So no masks, no hand sanitizer, no social distancing of the tables, no details being taken for track and trace, just like nothing. And the place was mobbed. Like it was obviously the place to be in Berwick. So if you've ever been to Berwick, you might know the place that I'm talking about. But it was actually, I mean, that was only the second time I'd been out anywhere, and it was actually really quite scary. I didn't like that at all. And the next place we went was better. But it's interesting because I've been to quite a few different places now. So over the past week, because we were on holiday, we were kind of going out a little bit, and so many places, it just varies so much. So there's one place where I live in Gullen, so the Bonnie Badger, we went there for drinks one night. And I mean, you can't even get in there without having your temperature taken. They take your temperature before you even go in, which was great because at least we knew everyone else that was in there, they'd had the temperature taken, and so obviously didn't have a temperature, otherwise they wouldn't have been in there. And Judith saying, having my early afternoon rosé, only joking. Yeah, I bet you're only joking. Because Judith is on holiday, and you could be forgiven for having an early afternoon rosé when you're on holiday, Judith, in the sweltering heat, 49 degrees. I saw your post the other day, which sounded quite sticky. Julie is saying it was good. That was the reason I went. You needed a mask for every ride. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So yeah. So anyway, I can't remember why I was saying all of that, but yeah, complete mixed bag. But anyway, going back to my story. So my story was all about having some distance from my business. So when I take some time off, and this time, it was great because I've got my team in place now. I had a proper out of office on with somebody else to contact if you needed me. And as the lovely Sarah in my team was my out of office contact. And so it meant, I was still keeping an eye on things. I was still checking email a little bit, and I was still doing a little bit of social media. But on the whole, I was kind of, just trying to ignore most of what was going on. And it's done me the world of good. I have to say, it really has done me the world of good. I just feel fresher. I feel more energized. I'm still pretty much in catch-up mode at the moment, but I feel like I'm getting somewhere. I've at least cleared all of my email. And I've paid bills actually today. That's what I was doing today. This afternoon I was paying bills, but I've got all of that done out as well. So I am debt free again. I know I don't owe anybody any money. I hate owing people money. So that has all been taken care of. But what it did do was it allowed me just to be thinking about what's working for me and what isn't. And I think because I was obviously really overwhelmed by the time I went on holiday. We hadn't had a break for quite some time. Last holiday was in January. I'd taken a little bit of time off during lockdown, but didn't really take proper time out. We were sort of pretending to be on holiday, but I was actually still working. Whereas this time was a proper, time out, and it gave me the space to do a bit of reflection and really think about what is working for me, what isn't, and more importantly, what is my vision? Where do I want it to be? And also questioning, because this is one of the things that I do with my clients a lot, is have them really think about, rather than it being either or, it's about and. So because part of me before I went on holiday was thinking, well, how can I make sure that I'm really adding value for my clients and still have balance? And that the challenge I was coming up against was, well, I need to do all this stuff, but I'm running around like a headless chicken and it's not working for me. And so then the challenge was, well, but I still want to make sure that I'm adding value. So the switch for me was, how can I make this work? How can I add value and retain some sanity, right? How can I, add value, but do it in a way that isn't going to end up with me being completely overwhelmed. And so I did a lot of thinking about that. And so I have a couple of thoughts and some small changes that actually I think in my business, so particularly for my Ignite people, so the people that are in my Ignite program, and I spoke about this in my Ignite group earlier today. I'm gonna change how I do some stuff in there so that not only does it save me time and it's more efficient for me, but actually I think they will get more value from it anyway. So I'm just making some tweaks on that. And I don't think I wouldn't have come to that conclusion if I hadn't had the space and the time away from my business just to think more clearly about where I am and what is working for me, or indeed what isn't. And so then that brings me back to vision, right? Because I was saying the topic for this was going to be balance and the importance of vision. And I am doing some work this week. So first day back from holiday, bang, right slap bang into 8 o'clock this morning, live in the Change Your World Every Day group. So Susie Beaumont's group. So she runs a program called Change Your World Every Day. I am running the week for her this week. So I'm the coach in the group this week. And the topic is, it's all about finding your balance. So Find Your Balance is a program that I run anyway. I'm in the middle of that right now. So I've got the coaching and accountability call for that coming up on Thursday this week, which I'm really looking forward to. So I've got a lovely bunch of people working through that just now, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see what progress, or not, but what progress they have made over the past few weeks since our first call that we had on that. Oh gosh, about 4 weeks ago it must be now, because this is the 4th week. So the review call is this week. But yes, I'm running that this week. And so today the session was all about, I've got my little plan here for the coaching. We've got that in front of me just now. So today was all about, so the whole thing is about finding your balance. And today we were being curious and exploring the topic of what is balance, right? What is balance? Because the thing about balance is, just my notification to say I'm live on YouTube as well. The thing about balance is it's different for everyone. And so, where we were going with this today is us trying to get them to really think about what are their current challenges with balance, right? So when I do this in live sort of face-to-face workshops, I always start with, well, help me to understand what your current challenges are, and they get to spew up all of that, right? So I kind of capture it all on the whiteboard, and it's we can go on for quite some time just capturing. So what are your current challenges with balance, and how does it make you feel? More importantly, right? How does it make you feel? That's the big thing. So we did a bit of that, and but then where we went with it was, okay, so now what I want you to think about is, what would balance actually look like for you? Because one of the biggest things that I see when I teach people, or when I work with people on this, and the thing is, when I work with people, so I typically work with women leaders, usually in tech, not always in tech, but most of my clients are female leaders in tech. And the two biggest things that they come to me for help with are self-doubt, right? So, that whole thing around imposter syndrome, self-doubt, the inner critic, inner fear, that whole feeling of not feeling like you're not enough, right? So that's one big thing. But the other big thing is overwhelm, right? Overwhelm. And the thing that I always get into with them is, okay, so let's explore where that overwhelm is coming from, but let's get really clear and crisp about what do you want your balance to be, because balance is different for everybody. And so my program is called Find Your Balance, but the your in Find Your Balance is always in capitals, right? So it's find your balance, so that your is really emphasized and underlined almost, because with anything in life, so with anything you're trying to achieve, anything that you want, anything that you want to accomplish, anything that you've kind of, set a target for, or not, because that's what usually is the case. Anything that you want to achieve, you need to be really clear what it is you're aiming for, right? And the biggest mistake or challenge that I see with anyone that is overwhelmed, unsure what they want, really struggling with that whole cycle of stress, anxiety, having too many plates in the air, struggling to keep all the plates in the air. The big thing that usually happens is no time has been taken out to really focus on identify, well, what do you actually want it to look like? If you had balance, what would be different? Because we only ever have 24 hours in a day. All of us only have 24 hours in a day. It's the same for everyone. And I watched a documentary about, I was talking about this morning, I watched a documentary about Bill Gates recently, and his assistant was going through his calendar with him and saying, this is what you're doing, this is where you're going, this is what's happening. So, it was kind of like he was being handled, so really senior people, they usually have a handler, and it's like, this is where you need to be, what you're doing, this is what's happening. And so they were going through that with him in this meeting, and the assistant was getting interviewed afterwards. And the thing that she commented on was, Bill has got the same amount of time as everybody else, right? So we all have 24 hours. We all have the same 24 hours, but it's what we do with those 24 hours that counts. It's what matters most. It's how we prioritize. And it's about having clarity and being really clear what's the goal. And the other thing that she actually said about Bill Gates was he's never late for meetings, and his meetings never overrun, right? So he's never late for meetings and his meetings never overrun. Note to self. Don't have a particularly great track record with that, but that's how Bill Gates does it. So he's never late for a meeting and his meetings never overrun. But more importantly, so if you've ever read anything by Bill Gates or watched him being interviewed or heard anything about him, he is really clear on vision. So he's really clear about what it is that he's trying to achieve. Where I've got funny hair going on today. What it is he's trying to achieve, where he's trying to get to. He's got a real clear vision of this is where we're headed, and therefore this is what matters most and what's most important, and that is what's guiding him. That's what's guiding his decisions. And so this is the thing, right? This is the really important thing. So any of you that struggle with balance, so let me know in the comments actually, how many of you that are watching right now, or if you're on replay, how many of you struggle with balance? What's the struggle? What's the challenge? And let me know, what's your goal? What is your goal? Because if you haven't clearly defined what your goal is, chances are, right? Chances are you're never gonna make it happen. You're not gonna make it happen. It's not gonna work because you're not clear what you're trying to achieve, and therefore your decisions, everything you're doing, the way you're prioritizing isn't based on the thing that you're trying to achieve. So my big tip for you today is, if you are struggling with balance, if you are challenged in this area, I want you to take a step back and really think about what your goal for balance is. So where do you want to get to? What do you want your days to look like? And the other thing that often comes up, and I've seen this in the group today where I'm doing the coaching, people will say, well, I want more time for myself, or I want to have enough time for myself, or I want to spend less time at work. There's words like more, less, enough, and these words, when we use those words and we use that language, it's very loose and woolly, not very specific, right? And so that's the one big thing that I always chime in on. I'll say, right, okay, well, if you want more time, how much time? How much time do you want to spend on any particular activity? What is enough? How much more? How much more? What is enough? So I really want you to think about that as well. Like, how do you make sure that you catch yourself when you're using language that's going to set you up for failure? Because you want to be set up for success. So to be set up for success, right, in achieving balance, you need to be really clear and specific about what it is that you're trying to achieve. Because if it's not clear, what you're trying to achieve, you're never going to get there, right? That's the thing. You are never going to get there. Okay, that is all I have for you today on this beautiful Monday. It looked like it was going to chuck it down earlier, but it's actually, looks like the sun has come out again, which is quite nice. So let me know if you have any comments. Let me know if you have any questions. If you are, Judith is saying, love that you're feeling better. Yes, I am feeling better. I have got my mojo back. I just needed a rest. I needed to take some time out, which I have done. And now, right? Okay. So now I am back. I am back with a vengeance. So anybody that works with me, watch out, because I am full on, because I'm re-energized. But that just shows me as well that I definitely do need to slow down at times and recharge my batteries so that I have enough in the tank for all the good things that I want to be doing. So that's it from me today. Have a think about that. Let me know if you've got any thoughts on it. Let me know in the comments, because that is the thing, like, really get crystal clear. So if you're struggling with balance, I want you to get really crystal clear on what your goal is. Then you need to define it in as much detail as possible. So the activity that we're doing in Susie's group today, so that, because there's going to be an activity every day, but today the activity is all about, just seen something flash up saying Julie likes my Ignite show. What was I going to say there? Yeah, the activity they're working on today is really, so I did a visualization with them in the group this morning to help them really think about, imagine if you were 5 years into the future and everything is going well, everything's just the way you want it, and things have worked out, you've overcome all the obstacles that you're seeing just now with balance, you've created something that's working really well. And I got them to really think about, what would that actually look like? And we're creating an image of that. So we're creating pictures. They can either create a picture, they can write something down, and whatever works for them, but there's some accountability around it, because they need to come back and share with me what they have come up with. But that's basically what I would suggest for you guys, is have a real good think about what your goal is, bring it to life in as much detail as possible, create a vision of that so you've got some structure, but actually write something down, draw a picture, find a GIF, something that really connects you to what that goal is, so that it stays top of mind and anchors you in what that vision is, so that everything that you do, all the decisions that you make and how you prioritize, is based on you driving toward that goal. And that will really help. All right. Excuse me, David Mallon is on. My goodness. David Mallon, I have not heard from you in a long, long time. David is saying, I agree. I think balance is the biggest challenge. Where to spend your 24 hours? For me, it's work versus home versus me time. I'm better at it than I used to be, but value all three. So it's an ongoing challenge. Yep, absolutely. Totally get that, David. And thank you for commenting. And what I would say is, you need to create that vision, right? So create a vision. So what would it look like? So if you had all three in balance, right? So if you had work, home, and me time all working together in a way that works for you and makes sense for you, because everybody's balance is different. So if your version of that, imagine getting past the challenges that you see with that right now. Imagine that you're there now. Imagine that we're 5 years into the future and you've overcome your challenge. And you've got it nailed. It's just working really, really well. What would that look like for you? Create your vision based on that, David, and let me know how you get on. David was my dance partner in, David, we've done a few dances together. I can't remember now. I remember my first ever show when I was in the Amdram world was Anything Goes. Anything Goes, and David was my dance partner for, now I can't remember what the song was. What was it now? What was the song? Oh, I can't remember. Help me out, David. What was it? I'm sure I stood on your toes loads of times. I can't remember now what it was. What were the songs in Anything Goes? Can't even remember. God, it's such a long time since I've been on the stage. Can't think. Oh, what was the song? It's a really famous song as well. What was it? Oh, I can't remember. I'm gonna have to Google that now. I'm gonna have to Google it. So if you can remember, David, then pop me a comment and let me know. And other than that, it's going to have to be down to Google, I think, to save my memory, which is failing. Right, that is it from me today. Thank you so much for showing up and tuning in. Tell your friends, right? Tell your friends about my Ignite show. So I'm live at 5 Mondays and Thursdays. I usually try and give a little bit of value in between my warblings. Try to give a bit of value, and there's usually a tip in there somewhere, usually something insightful. But Mondays and Thursdays live at 5, the Ignite show with me. And what I'll do is I will pop a little comment in here as well with the link, so that if you would like to be notified, when I go live, you can sign up for that and you'll get a little chatbot message from me. So I send out a message when I'm about to go live for everybody that's registered with me. So if you would like to do that, I will pop that in the comments and you can register. So you get a little message from me in your messenger app telling you that I'm about to go live. So I will do that as well. All right, thanks very much, everyone, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.